Would you think of City of God as a heist movie? Not really.
Not a heist movie, but
theft in it.
Yeah, there's a lot of action there.
That movie is unbelievably good. That's one of my favorites of all time.
It's your first job? A little late for a career change, ain't it?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for your time and congrats on the movie. I love a very good under 100 minutes fun movie to watch. You've got an extra star on my review just because of that.
Good. We tried to make it fast and fun. That was what we kept saying as we were going. Yeah.
Well, but I'm not here just to kiss your asses. I'm here to I have something special for you. I've got images for some classic heist movies that I'd like to present to you. I believe you have them on the iPads there. So you can guess what movies they are, each one is, and discuss them and their influences in the making of the Instigators. So shall we start?
So this picture, we still remember taking it very well. I mean, this was one of the first nights that we all got together as a cast, and this is a recreation of an original Ocean's 11 photograph, and we all stood in the same positions as the original group, as the Rat Pack did, and we actually had the same photographer that took the original shot, took this one. I've had this picture hanging in my house for 20-something years.
Where we took the picture was in Palm Springs.
It was in Palm Springs,
Was it in like one of those guys' houses? There's something special about the house that we were in.
I can't remember. Though they recreated because there was the pool table in the foreground, or the table in the foreground. And, there's an original one you can see of Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin and all those guys. Yeah. Well, I think the feeling of the trick of Oceans is very complex. But Steven Soderbergh was able to make all of these conversations and all of these kind of complex shots seem very thrown away, very casual almost. And there was a lot of precision involved in what he did, but the conversations feel light and it's a lot of fun and it moves really well. And I think that's what we wanted the Instigators to move, to be fun, to be funny. They
both, Doug and Steven both moved the camera a lot to give it a lot of energy. And,
This has heist in the title. This is Tower Heist.
So this was basically about robbing the Trump Tower. As it came to me, it was Ben Stiller and Eddie Murphy in this comedy. I don't get to be included in too many comedies, and so I immediately said yes. It was one of those movies where the script sort of starts as the first time you read it, it's one movie, and the last time you read it, or when you see the movie, it's a completely different movie, and that has a lot to do with the way that Ben likes to work. And
how was in the Instigators? Do you have the same movie from the first script to?
No, our script changed a lot too, for sure.
I'd say that the thing that Doug did was change the script a lot before we started shooting. One of his, it seems like Matt's worked with him more, but his kind of unique superpower is to take a thing, completely unpack an idea, and then put it all back together better than it was before. And a lot of that happened before we started shooting, which is what enables him to go so fast. And whereas on this thing, it was every single day there was big changes were happening. And I like it. I like Doug's method a lot, which is that to really nail things down, and then also stay kind of flexible in the set.
But this is, if you look at these are 5 great actors in this shot. And I remember Gabby CDB, like you got it. This was a really great cast. And that's something that we did in the Instigators was we built out like all the way down the line. They're really, really spectacular actors and performances. So I'd say that's something we stole from this movie. Yeah, obviously a movie neither of us were in, but a movie that we saw, I've seen I don't know how many times. It's fantastic. I could tell you a million stories about it because I talked to Ben a lot while he was making it. He inherited this movie from another director who was going to do it. He rewrote the entire thing. Again, another example of like working really hard on the script before going into production, because I think he had $37 million to make this movie, and it looks like a lot more than that when you see it. So he really had to be prepared, and so that meant doing an entire page 1 rewrite of the script. And again, a terrific cast.
That's a really good picture too.
Yeah.
Look at all
Yeah.
Those four faces, it's great.
Yeah, that's great.
How important is for you guys to have Boston in the picture?
Well, it's a city that we know really well because we're from there, so we know it culturally. I mean, it's changed a lot since we left, but the underlying culture of the city is what was there when we were there, and so we understand it. So it's a good place for us to put things because we can make them real and make them feel real, I think.
Yeah, this is
great. I remember, I'll tell you, training for the Bourne identity, because after I watched Val Kilmer in this scene, I remember being so impressed with how good he looked with the rifle and I actually trained with the guy who trained him for the Bourne movies. And he said what made him so good in the scene was the amount of hours he put at the range. And I remember putting hundreds of hours in at the range because I wanted to be as proficient. I think it's really great when actors do that. Now it's been taken to another level. I think someone like Keanu Reeves is like just absolutely amazing. Like I watch YouTube videos of that guy just practicing because he's put so much time and effort into it, but it really pays off in performance, and this is still one of the best sequences.
This is the kind of movie that transcends the genre. It's not just a heist movie. It feels like a classic drama. Like the performances between the actors, the scenes,
so good.
Their backstories, everything you really care about.
Is this the kind of movie that you rewatch before starting a movie like this?
I didn't rewatch it before this one. I mean, the tone of this is so different from what we did. Again, our movie is much, much lighter than this. But I do rewatch Heat occasionally just because, I mean, the performances are just so good. All the actors are so good, and then these sequences, particularly this one, are just still the gold standard.
Michael Mann's about to do a sequel to that. Would you ring him and call him? Well, I'm up to it. I've done it.
I already have. He said no.
Yeah, what's funny is Ben and I were looking through the ages of actors for performances like this, and De Niro's much younger in this movie than we are.
Is that true?
He's in his 40s, like 45 or 6 in this movie. So I think that ship has sailed for us.
That's
Look
not
at
much
how
younger.
jet black his hair is.
I don't know what this movie is, but I can guess the story.
Which one is this? Michael Caine?
This is a group of astronauts in training who decide to steal a piece of moon rock that has been stored after Apollo returned to the United States.
I'm embarrassed to say I haven't seen this one. Which one is it?
It looks French.
The Italian Job.
Oh, the original Italian Job.
Damn it.
Yeah, I never saw it. I never saw the original Italian Job. Someone thought of that 20 years ago.
Parallel from Italian Job to the Instigators. There's a car chase there with Mini Coopers, and in this one you have bigger cars in your car chase. Can you talk a little bit about the fire and the tank?
Well, Doug, directed the Bourne Identity, and we had a Mini Cooper car chase in there, and so I don't think Doug ever wants to repeat himself. So he always finds it funny when there's, if there's something unique about a car chase, right? That and something that brings the characters out. So driving in a Brinks truck or in a giant armored car in a fire truck, like those kind of things are the things that he wants to do that haven't been done before and that are really fun. And particularly for this movie, those were our kind of our North Star was like fast, fun. What's the funnest version of this scene? Like what would that look like? And that's kind of how we made our decision.
It kind of makes the like everyday stuff work in action. Like Bourne, you're always fighting with it's not like a cool weapon. It's like a rolled up magazine. Or in this movie, we're kind of like in a car chase and we can't get the music to work right in the car. It's pretty good at that.
This one, the music in that sequence is very well put.
Yeah, and the music that drives you crazy, and even when you're in a high-speed car chase. Yeah, it's a funny idea.
Oh, guys, thank you much. Thank you very much. That is the time that I had, but have a good time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.